Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines. And last time out, we built our gentrified residential district, sprucing up the old factory asset with a few of the new wall-to-wall residential and commercial assets, and just overall creating quite a nice little pedestrian area. I have to say, in particular, I absolutely love this view here. Just the little flowers outside of these old factory assets are, yeah, really nice. I really like how this turned out. For today, we are going to be turning our attention to multiple smaller little builds around Auridon and fixing up a few things and making them a little bit better because of a recent discovery that I've made within Find It. Now, I do not know how I did not know this feature was here, but within Find It, you can, if you click the filter panel here, search for sub-buildings. Now, those of you who watch my series will know I absolutely love Bob. When we Bob some buildings, they have multiple sub-buildings within them. So ultimately, this is what this filter gives you, is all of the different sub-buildings of all of the different assets. So it's pretty freaking awesome. So if you just want part of a stadium, I've no idea why you'd want that, but there you go. You can get that now. Maybe you just want the main building of the pulp mill for whatever reason. There you go, you can place that in now. This is all like just so insanely super exciting. You just want the space launch site and not all the rest of the kerfuffle. There you go, you've got it. It's, yeah, insanely exciting. I absolutely love this little feature and cannot believe that I have not realised that it's been there the whole time, staring under my nose. That we can just get the little Christmas tree from the Christmas market and place it wherever we want to. We don't have to have the whole market with it. It's such, oh yeah, just absolute game changer. And there's so many different little tiny assets within this that just got a load of random parked cars if you want them. Things like just half of the Old Street Market if you want a slightly smaller Old Street Market. We've also got these pillars as well that are used for the city arch. Completely construct this in a whole new way if you so wanted to. And of course, you will have seen me delete half the cargo airport. You can just get those different sections of the cargo airport now individually. So yeah. Super exciting. Slightly smaller warehouse if you want it. Go for it. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing in Auridon today, is sprucing up a couple of areas and creating a couple of new smaller areas using some of these sub-buildings that are available. So the first thing that I do want to do is actually head on back over to Marina from all that time ago. Here we are, back in our little marina waterfront, just off Stanton Island here. And what we're going to do is use some of those sub-buildings to spruce this up. So for starters, we can now access just the steamboat from the boat museum. Yes! So let's definitely have this sat in alongside our quay wall here. Take people on little boat tours, that type of thing. Oh, it just looks super cute and it's just such a nice addition. We also have the boat from the Sea Life Centre, which is this one, the whale watching boat. We could have a few of these as well. We could just have it like positioned out to sea if we wanted to. I've got to be careful not to interrupt the ferry lines there, but maybe we just want, you know, a nice little prop boat. I mean, let's just check our transport lines. Yeah, we're okay. Nice little prop boat out to sea over there. That works beautifully for that. But one thing I am going to do across the front here is add in a little bit of extra something. Now this is a sub-building that comes from a Marina asset, so I'll just show you the full asset. And it's not one that I've actually used in Auridon, but it is a really nice asset and definitely a favourite of mine. And that is this Marina and Hotel. And yeah, it's pretty impressive, but not something that I'm going to add here in Auridon. But we can use one of the sub-buildings for it to make a really nice little kind of pier effect for our whale boat tours. Let's just drop this in here, and as you can see we've got little benches, little tables up this side, so we'll definitely put some kind of food resources onto the quay edge there, and that'll also attract people down to walk down here. But then with that we can then just grab move it and let's position our whale watching boat right up against that pier, which I think will look really nice there, so people can use that as a place to get on and off the whale watching tour if they so wish. Yeah, just to complement these tables, I think we will add in a small amount of detailing here. So let's actually turn off our sub-buildings for now. And we'll go ahead and grab, I think we're going to use a little Green Cities cafe for this. I think would be the nicest thing. So let's grab that. There we go, so we've got our burned bean cafe just along the edge of the quay there. And then of course, let's go ahead and find our tables and add just a few more of those in. Maybe a couple of planters around it just to neaten it all up. Oh yeah, there we go. Just added in the extra tables, little planters, added in some poles as well to help this side of the building make a little bit more sense. And exactly the same thing down here. Just added in a little ice cream stand and a sign down that end of the pier. But I think that's a very welcome addition to the front of Marina. I think that adds a nice little feature for little boat tours, whale watching tours. And obviously the steamliner as well just helps with that harbour effect, that marina effect around here. Now another use of the sub-buildings that I do want to do is this little area here, our little central plaza around our transport hub, which is just still absolutely mega busy down here. And we did put in this little screen here. It was originally meant to be a stage, but obviously we couldn't fit a full festival area in here. But now that I know that we can actually just get our festival sites using our sub-building feature, and we can literally just get the stages in with nothing else, that is 100% what we are going to do right here. So let's get a stage in, and they do need to attach to roads, I would add, but actually they function completely fine not being attached to roads. They don't actually need rubbish collection and so on in order to still light up and work in that respect. And so there we go. Okay, so that's not too bad. So yeah, now we have actually got the little stage with the lights going up to nuts in our little park area here, and it would be good to have some standing sims in here. So let's just throw down one of our Boom Festival crowd gatherers into here. Now again, these need to be placed close enough to a road, but if we do just move these over, hopefully it'll still stay connected if we add it in somewhere here. Yes, we can add it in there, and then hopefully we'll get a nice crowd of people gathering in this space in front of the stage. Now, of course, going back over to our festival site over here as well. Now, I did put in these little screens, and there is actually a festival going on. Oh, look at that. Tons of people. Now, I did actually put in these little screens on little breeze box here, but again, of course, using our sub-buildings, we can actually get the actual festival screen, which I think would look an awful lot better. So again, let's turn on our sub-buildings function. So yeah, we've got these ones now, so we can actually have the actual bands up on the screen and playing. So let's have a few Nesta screens, why not? So I think what we will do is actually keep them in the places that we had them, because that worked absolutely fine. And we'll just, yeah, replace them for these screens and make it look really nice and consistent. So let's just break these ones apart. And then we'll grab our Nesta screen and we'll just put that back into those same spots there. So again, I'll copy this one. And then it's like you could actually see the band playing on these screens rather than the other ones. So I quite like that little effect there. So I left this running for a little while, and that boom crowd marker has absolutely done its job. We have got quite a few Sims here waiting for their concert in the central transport hub plaza, the downtown plaza really, in Auridon. So that's quite exciting actually. I'm quite enjoying that. Those boom crowd markers work an absolute charm for things like that. So yeah, liking how that's turned out. So the next little area that I do want to touch on is this little green space here, right next to our Okie Dokie Loki Wildlife Park, Central Park, which is burning down. But yeah, we left this little green space here, which definitely needs filling. So we are going to be using some of the Central Park sub-buildings, actually, to create our own little Central Park down in this area here. So let's go back to our sub-buildings feature, and if we search for Central Park, now this is probably my most exciting discovery. The Central Park asset by itself is absolutely massive. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. But if not, here you go, there it is, and it has some really cute little bits in it. It's got this sunken plaza in the middle, it's got an amphitheatre at one end, and a little maze as well. And all of these we can now access via Find It. So I definitely want the amphitheatre in here. So let's just start off by clearing out the trees. So let's just pop it in along the road at the moment. And of course we are going to use Bob on this to change up the trees. They are not going to be staying in like that. But what I want is this amphitheatre. I kind of want people to be able to sit in it and look out over the downtown skyline view. That is ideally what I would like to see. We can actually just angle it even slightly further round towards the downtown area. That might be even better. Maybe something like this. And again, let's not worry about the trees because we will be bobbing those off. So they're now sat there the skyline in the background behind their play. Yeah, pleased with how that's going to look. So of course, let's get Bob out and let's remove all of those trees. I'm not going to be putting the Central Park asset in. Of course, if we did then put the Central Park asset in, all of these trees would be gone from this one particular square of it. But we will be adding obviously our own trees in around it to decorate it, and I won't be using the big Central Park asset by itself. And when we come to detailing as well, we've got this little backstage area, so we'll remember that and we'll try and do something cute out there. Now, the other two Central Park assets that are particularly cute are these two. Now, this sunken plaza is just stunning, but this is not the place for it. That's very much more of a downtown, I think. So, or kind of some kind of fancy country house gardens. So we'll leave that one for now. But this one I think we will use, and we're going to use it as a kind of entranceway focal point into something a little bit strange. But if we go to the temple, we do get this part of the temple sub-building. So again, if I just show you which one this is the temple complex here, and it is divided into two little sub-buildings. So that is what we are going to be using here. I'm going to be using the main one for this, and let's just back that onto this park. Now again, I'm not going to be using the actual main temple within Auridon, so it doesn't really matter if we bob off these trees. So I think I will be just going to remove all of them and then looking to place our own in. Again, with this little plaza from the Central Park, I feel like this makes quite a nice little entrance into this temple. Again, let's remove the trees so that we can actually see what we are working with here. Bob says be gone and the trees be gone. So yeah, there we go. We've got our front of our temple with this garden in front, and we'll sort out all of the path patterns and make that make sense, connect it up to the amphitheatre and add a load of trees in. But I think that that makes quite a nice, cute little way to customise some of those assets that are already there within the game. All you need for that is find it and probably move it, and away you go. So yeah, I think we're going to make quite a cute little custom area here. So what I will do now is go ahead and detail this, and then we'll get on to our final area. And so there we go. So I think these are fitted in really quite nicely. I've just added in an extra path network, so I'm liking actually how the paths are kind of sitting onto this road diagonally and not all straight on and uniform. A bit of flower decoration around here, extended some hedging round, a bit of piling out the back, and then I honoured the bamboo, but just using our Auridon alders to completely sort of encase the temple there. So it's very, very private when you're down on these paths. You can't really see much into it because of the nice thick alders there. Then we did also keep a little bamboo garden here. Like when I visited Japan, you could walk down these little rows of bamboo, which I thought was quite cute. So nice little touch in the sides of the temple there. Little fountain in the middle with some benches. Have plopped in a park life toilet as well. Hopefully that'll encourage people to walk around here. And then of course we've got the amphitheatre with a little backstage area in here. A couple of little gates to symbolise the entrance. And then just some rough little prop detailing in terms of whatever performance is on at this particular current time. But that was really it. Just a bit of extra hedging and fencing all the way around and then laying out the paths. But I think it's come together quite nicely. I particularly like these little flowers in amongst the bushes here. It all feels quite natural down from street level. So yeah, pleased with how it's turned out and fitted into this very odd little space here, using some of those bits of assets that we love the best. Okay, so the next mini build that I want to come on to today, we are going to fly all the way over to Jennifer Farmer's farm. So there's one unique factory that I have not placed into Auridon yet that we can definitely accommodate, and that is the lemonade factory. We have both glass from our Auridon ore mine and also crops from obviously our massive farm over here. So that's what we're going to go and do in this space. Just before we begin, I am actually going to clear out these power lines that are flowing along here. We no longer need them with the help of the new 81 tiles mod, and also clear out the trees. Now the lemonade factory again is one that you can use sub buildings for, so if I just go and show you that, we'll click our sub buildings filter and then you can see we get the different parts to the lemonade factory, which is pretty exciting. So what we can do is just completely customise it and make it our own, so it's original, not like any other lemonade factory that you would find in Cities Skylines, original to your city. You can kind of design it however you would want from that effect. So let's just go ahead and place it in around about there for now, and we'll shift it around when we know exactly what position we want it in. But I definitely do want this long edge up against this road so that we can see these nice warehouse windows, so that we can see that big sign, Yaktu Energy Lemonade Factory. Obviously the nice little cans over here are quite a good feature as well, so we want to make sure that they are preserved, and definitely seeing that sign from this main collector road here I think is pretty important in terms of the orientation of it. Let's go ahead, and what we will grab is actually just our 2-lane industrial road, and we'll bring that out around about here. Let's make sure we've got snap in turned on so we get a nice 90-degree angle, and I'll bring it out much further than we actually need to at the moment, so we'll drop it in like that. Now with the lemonade factory, what I would like is it sitting out on its own little kind of bit of a road here, so we get a nice fancy entrance for it. So what I am going to do is actually just draw this out. Let's turn off snap into road guidelines for now so we just get our nice angles in. In fact, let's turn off grid as well, so we can just get that nice 90-degree angle with up to 3 units in between our roads, which I think will be plenty. Let's make it just one longer like that. So let's draw these along here, and that can mark where the front of our lemonade factory will sit. And what we will do is put a nice big car park outside the front of it in here. But let's just start off by having a little look at the sub-buildings. So we have got 2. We've got this one, which I think is essentially, yeah, it's sort of the middle of it. So we've got walls missing from 2 sides, which is not completely ideal for what I want to do here. But this is the piece that I do want to use. As you can see, it's kind of got one wall that is completely open, and then the others are all filled in all around it. So what we can do with this is just essentially add this to the side of our lemonade factory. Create quite a nice little unique shape and an annex for it. And all this does is just really help to create that kind of individuality within your city. So it's not, you know, it's unique to you. It's not exactly the same as all the other Cities Skylines lemonade factories that are out there. So you can see, like here on the roof, it's slightly, very, very slightly off, and we can try and line those up a little bit better in terms of those roof tiling spaces. There's something like that. All the windows around the edge look absolutely fine. We've got this little back door that we can definitely do something with here. But all in all, that looks like it has kind of merged in pretty well. The roof patterns even roughly go together. Not so much this one, but some of them, most of them do. And then what I'd also like to do is use this little yard as well. So we've got one of these tagged onto the back here, but let's like extend the factory a little bit further, I think. So what we will do is just tag this onto the side, round about here. Again, just so that we're getting like a slightly larger complex and a really nice, unique shape to our factory. And I will just pause the game while we're not actually connected to a road for the time being. Okay, so now we can sort out the front of this. So let's just drag this road up right to the edges of the complex like that. And then we will just continue to fill out this square here. So let's bring that straight out at 90 degrees to meet up with that there. We'll do exactly the same thing this side as well. Now we're not snapping into the nodes here, so let's just delete that and redo that. There we go. And as mentioned, I think a car park in the middle here would go really, really nicely. So let's snap it in there. We'll just draw it all the way through like that. Now we do have a little bit of breathing room in it, so let's just grab those 3 nodes and we can shift them over so that's more sitting in the middle here. Like that, and it gives us quite a lot of surface texture tearing actually, which is not ideal. We can obviously cover it up with a bit of surface painter, but maybe it would be better to have this slightly closer in. Let's grab these 3 nodes and we'll grab all of our buildings from our lemonade factory now here. We'll just drag these up just that little bit closer to close that gap in on the car park like that. And of course, let's use node controller here and we'll get rid of all of the markings. I think like this is a factory area, it's a dirty area. I don't think road markings are really needed or appropriate for this particular complex. So we'll just get rid of those like that. Now in terms of access around the back here, what we can use is use our concrete road that we've used many a time within Auridon now. And I will just draw this in up here now, because we're not snapping in particularly nicely there. What I'm going to do is just grab our buildings and shift it over so that that lines up nice and perfectly here. And then what we want to do is snap into the end of that and bring it out our segment road. Now, I'm just thinking about the back here again. So this will give road access to this segment of it. This one, we can figure out some spawn points if we need to. I don't think that they will function, so I don't think it will be a problem. And then what I'd like to do is bring road access round the back here. So let's just bring that out slightly further than we need to. We'll draw the road in here and see if we can get it to snap into that segment there. That's right. And then we can just draw this across slightly further here, because I will put in some storage around the back here as well, which I think will be a nice touch. So let's just bring that round that side there as well. And we can delete off that segment of road that we no longer need. I'll leave that there for now, and we'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so a couple of other little things. Let's draw in a road across this way. And what I would like to get in, because we have got a unique factory here, in fact we can press play now, we need to get in storage for its products. So let's have a look at our warehouses. And I'm thinking a medium warehouse could fit in here quite nicely. I think what we will do is just pull that right as far forward as we can possibly go, and all the way over to this edge as well, almost so that that texture kind of backs onto this building here. Again, just trying to make sure that it all looks like one complex. Now here as well, we are clipping in, so let's move this building back just a touch, so it just sits on the edge of that warehouse fence line there, so we can see our crates nicely, and we can obviously see all of the crates build up as they do in the warehouse when that starts to fill up. Yeah, I think that sits onto the side of the factory pretty well there. Now there is one other sub-building that I would like to use here, and that is part of the slaughterhouse. Now this, actually, I wish I'd known this when I'd done the farm, because that is a very, very cute little farm yard segment. It almost makes like a little farmer's market, that sort of thing, which I, quite like the idea of here. So I think what we will do is turn this around and create a little farmer's market off on this side. Then what we can do is grab our concrete road and let's just bring down access for it down this side. So I think actually we'll go just about like that. And then what we can do is actually pull that slightly further away from the road. So it's just set back just that little bit. A little bit of sort of VIP parking in there. And then what we'll do is we will flesh out this area with some food stalls and some sort of standing sims and that sort of thing. Make it look like they're kind of waiting for the cows or the sheep or the pigs or whatever animals it is that they're coming to buy at the auction house to come out into these little pens. That's definitely the vibes that this part of the building gives me. that is what I'd like to add in here. And it's certainly missing as well from our farmyard build is that farmer's market. So that's certainly what we need here. Some stalls round and lots of detailing around it will help massively. And then just coming back to the warehouses, actually, which I sort of started and then did not finish off. What I would like in here is 2 more warehouses, and we're just going to use the Avania ones for this, which I think fits best. And we do need glass, so we're going to change one of those to glass, and we are going to change the other one to unique factory products. And then the other thing that we do need is crops. Let's also rub this production right up to 150. We're making tons of products from our industry, so it should be absolutely no problem. In order to get crop storage down here, what we do need is either a silo or a barn. So I think a silo is probably best suited to this area. Again, we need detailing around it to make it feel like it's actually part of the complex. But I think it fits in reasonably well there. And it may be worth potentially having another silo or something over this side as well. I might put in another flour mill. We'll see when we come to do the detailing how well that all fits in. And then just one final touch here is I'd like to use a little bit of generic industry just to kind of flesh out another sort of warehouse looking building. And this is using absolutely one of my all-time favourite assets in the whole game, I would add, which is, of course, our little laminate floors building here. But hopefully this will be kind of using it in a slightly different way to what you have seen previously. So what I am going to do is plop in 4 of those on each side. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab all of these buildings from here. We'll turn on buildings, grab all of those. I'm going to shift those over and align them up really nicely next to this one. So we're getting that nice merged front in. And then what I will do is grab 2 of them and we'll just pull them out. Because what we are going to do is stack them all together, which gives a really nice kind of warehouse looking effect. So yeah, just like that. And then we can use the repaint option, of course. Now these are automatically come like a little bit pinky, but we can make them sort of blend in a little bit better with the lemonade factory by making them slightly greener. It's almost impossible to match this green exactly, but I will give it my best go. And of course the other thing to bear in mind is we do have these big laminate floor signs on the front, so actually what I will do is just grab these front 2 and we're just very simply going to spin them all the way around. So we get these kind of office doors on the front and we hide that laminate floor sign, and it doesn't have any effect on the sideways look of this building. So yeah, I think that that fits in quite nicely there. So this should be a pretty good addition to our farm. I just see all of these trucks coming in, trying to store up the crops here. We've got so many crops and not enough processing facilities. I think I am going to have to add in a few more, just as a little kind of sub farmyard around the back here. We will also add in some fields around this and some more detailing, just to kind of like blend it into the farmyard environment, and also a bit of detailing around these power lines, which have kind of just been left there. There's even a tree in the middle. We'll definitely sort out the power lines from Bill Watt's power plant there. And yeah, just generally tidy up this whole area, make things make a little bit more sense, like this back entrance being used, concreting in all of the textures, that sort of thing. So I'll just jump into a detailing time lapse and I will be right back. And so there we go. So I think this has fitted in quite nicely next to our farm here. There's a bit of an extension helping this farmland blend more into the environments. We've crossed the fields over onto this side. These are just prop fields, I would add, so they don't render very well. They disappear up close, they disappear far away, which is just fantastic. But up close, it does look pretty good. And when we follow this road down, we can just see those crop fields sitting in there quite nicely. So coming on to the lemonade factory, I kept the opening really open here so you could clearly see that sign and the scale and the size of the factory. Nice little bit of the factory kind of wall up against the road here as well, so keeping that orientation nice. I've used a couple of Avania's planters down the front here just as little sitting areas and to frame the main entrance through into the factory for the workers there. A little bit of overgrowth here and there. We've scuffed up all of the concrete pavement textures, as I always do in industrial areas, because I think it just helps to make it look a little bit more worn, a little bit more realistic than that pristine kind of pavement texture that comes with the game, or with this theme at least. And then just lined up a couple of trucks, not in every slot, into this little delivery area there, which I thought looked pretty cute. We have fenced in the whole complex. I've added in a few extra props here, so just these little trucks, a few extra crates. But not much extra in here because I thought there's already quite a few props sitting around that yard, so I didn't want to overcrowd it. Same goes for down here. We've just added in a few extra containers, a little bit of rubbish and bin detailing there. Nice little crate container area with a little portaloo down that side. A few more containers running round, and then much of the same little truck and some crates down this side. Just those little extra prop details I think really help to bring it to life. Same goes for down here. Tiny bits of rubbish and crates and the such like next to this longer warehouse this side. I think that's all kind of come together pretty nicely. I did add in 2 more generic industry buildings actually down the back here just to fill that out a little bit. I think having that little bit of extra height and an extra building in there makes a bit of sense. And then looking just outside the factory, I have added in this household waste and recycling centre. So we've got a little landfill here, but also this little recycling centre. So with a bit of a car park, so people could go there and drop off their rubbish at the tip or whatever they needed to do. A couple more flour mills here actually with a warehouse to store the flour, just because we only had 1 or 2 I think in the main farmyard and we were in need of a bit more flour, so I have done that. We've got a massive excess of crops obviously because we've just got so many fields in this particular farm. Quite a lot of animal fields as well, so animal products wasn't quite so bad. And then coming on to the farmers market, just added in a few food truck stalls here, a couple of the sit-in sims to bring it to life, and then just used our green city markets running all the way up here. Again, used a couple of prop sims just to help add a little bit more life to the area. And of course we scuffed up the texture with a few different styles of decals along here too, and kind of blended it into this road, into the main car park for the farmers market here. I think that helped give a bit more realism rather than having that really sharp concrete edge to it. Sort of looks like some of the dirt has kind of been worn onto tyres and tracked over the road there, which I quite like the effect of. And then the final little thing that you won't have seen is I actually just came in and tidied these up. So we've added fencing all around the power lines and just a couple of little decals just to sort of rough up the grass here. I think it makes it look like it makes a bit more sense, I think, with those decals in rather than just having a bright green grass strip in there. And I have to say, and I would have said this before, but the Industries DLC is absolutely one of my favourites, and using these sub-buildings gives so many options when it comes to those industry buildings as well. A lot of the warehouses and the factories you can divide up into sub-buildings, so you can really make some pretty nice creations, I think, out of those. So we've just stuck to something simple here today, making the lemonade factory completely unique to Auridon here. You won't find this in any other city, which is what I absolutely love about these sub-buildings and detailing up these different factories and bringing them to life with props and the such like. If you did want to check out that Industries DLC, you can get it for super, super cheap on Instant Gaming. And if you use my affiliate link that is in the description below, that will also help to support the channel. They've got tons and tons of really heavily discounted games on there, so do go and check it out. But for today, that is going to be it. So if you have enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares are really, really appreciated and really help me to grow the channel and get noticed and recognised on YouTube. So it's a massive, massive help to me. Let me know in the comments if you've got suggestions for other things you'd like to see in Auridon. We've still got a lot of map to fill, so I'm keen to do some cool little quirky out-of-town builds. So let me know what you'd like to see there. And if you've had a go with the sub-buildings yourself and come up with some cool combinations, let me know again what you've come up with. I'd love to hear and see some of your creations. But that is all from me for today, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you again next time. Bye bye.